Time now on the programme for a look at some of the day's top business stories. And officials in the United States have recovered billions of dollars of stolen Bitcoin. What's this about? Well, our business editor, Stephen Carroll, is here to explain a little more for us, Stephen.
Stuart, the US Department of Justice has arrested 2 people and confiscated cryptocurrency worth $3.6 billion, which it says was stolen during a hack of the Hong Kong-based exchange Bitfinex in 2016. Now, Heather Morgan and Ilya Lichtenstein were arrested on Tuesday and accused of conspiring to launder the proceeds of almost 120,000 bitcoins. Morgan is a rapper who gives business advice on TikTok. Prosecutors says the tokens were stolen during the Bitfinex hack. They tracked them down using blockchain that logs all transactions involving cryptocurrencies. Now, at the time they were stolen, Bitcoin was only worth around $600. Today, we're talking about Bitcoin being worth $43,000. Now, it has fallen slightly since news of that seizure in the United States. Cryptocurrency prices, though, are notoriously volatile, so we're only talking about a fall of around 2% on Bitcoin today, which isn't a very big move for the cryptocurrency at all. This whole case, though, being very closely watched by the cryptocurrency sector, particularly how prosecutors are using the blockchain to follow criminal use of digital tokens. Moving on, a new report from British MPs says that Brexit has increased costs for businesses and hurt international trade. The Public Accounts Committee is warning that the situation could get worse in the coming months when travel and trade pick up as the pandemic eases. MPs say that travellers going in and out of the UK to the European Union could face longer delays. That's due to increased passenger numbers and new biometric passport checks that the EU is introducing later this year. The committee also noting that the new red tape around customs have added costs for businesses trading with their European neighbours. The UK is set to introduce checks on imports this year, but lawmakers say the staff and infrastructure needed for those checks to take place isn't yet in place. And it also says that the challenges for businesses arising from the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is affecting trade across the Irish Sea, also needs to be resolved. To Argentina next, where thousands of people have protested against the country's latest agreement with the International Monetary Fund. Buenos Aires agreed a framework deal with the IMF last month to restructure $44 billion worth of debt. Protesters are hoping to pressure Congress into rejecting the deal. Nicholas Rushworth has the story.
Protesters gathered in Buenos Aires to say no to the debt restructuring deal now on the table with the International Monetary Fund. The agreement still needs details ironed out and approval from Argentina's Congress and IMF board. These demonstrators say the people should not have to pay the price.
It seems to us that it has nothing to do with the needs of the workers and the people. It has to do with the needs that they have of a bogus, illegitimate, unpayable debt. They have decided that we must pay with the hunger of the people.
Argentina has had more than 20 IMF deals over the last 6 decades. The new one, if ratified, would come after a previous bailout in 2018 under then-President Mauricio Macri, which failed.
What's the scam? It's a Macri scam of $45 billion. That money disappeared in a flight of capital, and now they want to make working people pay for it.
The initial framework agreement with the IMF involves pushing back debt repayments by at least 4.5 years, fiscal deficit reduction targets, raising interest rates, and there'll be no spending cuts. Instead, there'll be reliance on growth to improve the country's financial situation. It's not a done deal. Splits have appeared in the ruling left-wing Peronist coalition led by President Alberto Fernandez, with one prominent lawmaker quitting in opposition to it. Meanwhile, with inflation over 50%, Argentinians are facing continued pressure from sharply rising prices.
Let's take a look at what's happening next on the stock markets for you. European shares starting the day up. Technology shares leading the gains there. Investors looking ahead to inflation data coming out of the US later this week. That's the picture at the opening of the European markets. In Asia earlier, gains across most markets as well. That was following a positive lead from Wall Street. The Nikkei in Tokyo finishing the day up 1%. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong up by 1.9%. Finally, for me, Starbucks has fired a number of workers who were trying to organise a union in the state of Tennessee. The Starbucks Workers United movement says the employees were dismissed. The employees that were dismissed were part of an organising committee at a store in Memphis. The company says the staff had knowingly violated its safety and security policies including using one of its cafes after hours. A company spokesperson denying, though, that they were engaging in any anti-union activities. In December, 2 Starbucks stores in New York State became the first in the US to unionize. The conversation happening in Starbucks is all over the US at the moment. Interesting one to follow.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you will for us. Thank you very much. Stephen Carroll with Business on France 24.